all about chocolate. Introduction. Ask people about their favorite sweet thing to eat, and they'll probably say it's chocolate. People around the world love chocolate. They love it so much that every year they eat more chocolate than any other sweet. Where chocolate comes from? It might surprise you to learn that chocolate actually grows on trees. That doesn't mean that you can pick a chunk of chocolate from a tree branch and eat it. In fact, the chocolate growing on trees looks, tastes, and smells nothing like the chocolate you eat. The tree that gives us chocolate is the cacao tree. Chocolate comes from beans that are found in large pods on the tree. Cacao trees grow near the equator. It is hot and wet. Today, most cacao trees are grown on large farms. The trees have lots of small flowers that bloom during the year. Some of the flowers change into pods, but most do not. The pods are green when they first form, but they change to a golden or dark red color as they get ripe. Preparing the beans. Taking the pods from the cacao trees is the first step in making chocolate. But it's not the pods that are important. It's the 20 to 50 beans found inside the pods, which are actually the tree's seeds. It takes a lot of beans and a lot of work to make chocolate. First, the pods are gathered. Then, someone using a large blade called a machete cuts the pods open. The beans are then scooped out of the open pods. You might expect the beans to be brown. Instead, they're cream-colored and covered with a soft pulp. These beans are a long way from being chocolate, you know. The pulp-covered beans are put into piles or boxes and covered. As the beans come in contact with the air, they begin to change from a cream color to a purple color. The beans also change on the inside in a process called fermentation. This can take more than a week, but the fermented beans still do not waste or smell like chocolate. After the beans have fermented, they are dried. As they dry, the beans are turned. Once the beans are dry, they are placed in large cloth bags and shipped to makers of chocolate. Farm beans to chocolate. Making chocolate from the fermented, dried beans is a very long and complicated process. First, the beans need to be cleaned, which removes any remaining pulp or pieces of the pods. Then, chocolate makers blend different varieties of beans to make sure the chocolate has just the right flavor. The cleaned and blended beans are roasted in order to bring out the chocolate flavor. This is the stage when the beans begin to smell like chocolate. As the beans are roasted, the thin shell that covers them grows brittle. The beans pass through a special machine that cracks their shells and blows away the pieces of shell with fans. After the shells are removed, only the meaty part of the bean, called the nib, remains. The nibs are ground up and crushed until they become a liquid. The liquid is poured into molds. When it cools into bars of bitter, unsweetened chocolate, the bars are then pressed until the most important part of the chocolate, a yellow liquid called cacao butter is removed. The cacao butter drains through a screen and is collected to make the chocolate we eat. Word origins: cacao or cocoa. When the products of the cacao tree made their way to English-speaking countries, the word cacao became the word cocoa. Writers and speakers of English today still use the word cacao when discussing the tree and its flowers, pods, and beans. People usually use the word cocoa when discussing the many products that comes from the beans. After the liquid cacao butter is removed, the solid part of the bar is ground into a powder. Cocoa powder is sent to dairies and bakeries to flavor baked goods and dairy products. The chocolate we eat is made in the final step, called counting, which takes place in machines with big rollers. Sugar, cocoa powder, cocoa butter, and other ingredients are rolled and mixed until smooth. The smooth mixture is poured into molds and cooled. After it has cooled and solidified, the chocolate is removed from the molds and wrapped in packages for shipping. History of chocolate. As near as historians can tell, people living in Mexico and Central America were using chocolate almost 2,000 years ago. These people enjoyed a drink made from chocolate, but if you were to try this drink today, you'll find that it tastes much different from the chocolate drinks you enjoy. In fact, it was a very bitter tasting drink, kind of like coffee. A Spaniard by the name of Hernan Cortes helped Europeans begin to see that there was value in cacao beans. The great Aztec ruler Montezuma had served Cortes a drink made from cacao beans. The Aztecs told Cortes that it was the drink of the gods. The Aztecs believed that cacao beans gave them added wisdom and strength. They placed so much value on cacao beans that they used the beans as a form of money. Cortes saw much more value in the beans as money than as a drink. He planted cacao trees so that he could use the beans not for chocolate, but as money. It was his way of growing money on trees. Cortes brought back knowledge of how to make the chocolate drink, but it still was not popular outside the Americas. Not until the Spanish began mixing sugar with the drink did chocolate begin spreading in popularity. Until the 1600s and 1700, chocolate was a luxury food for royalty and powerful church officials. But during the 1600, people began grinding large amounts of cacao beans in mills, making much more chocolate and at a lower cost. The invention of smooth milk chocolate also added to the treat's popularity. The first chocolate shop opened in 1657 in London, England. In the 1700, a steam-driven chocolate grinder was invented, allowing factories to quickly make tons of affordable chocolate. Today, chocolate is a favorite and affordable treat in many countries. Chocolate today. Most of the chocolate made in factories today is used to make chocolate candy. Other chocolate goes into ice cream, chocolate drinks, and baked goods such as cakes and donuts. Even the sauce called mole, used in Mexican cooking, is made from chocolate. Each year, people around the world consume or eat tons of chocolate. The people of Switzerland consume more chocolate per person than anyone else in the world. They are joined in their love of chocolate by people in many other European countries. Meanwhile, it is West Africa that produces much of the world's cacao, and much of the labor done to harvest cacao beans there is done by children. Instead of going to school, they work hoping to earn enough to eat. The work is hard and dangerous. The root cause of this child labor is poverty. To end it, chocolate companies need to pay farmers more for their cacao. Some more companies already do this by paying more. Farmers and their families earn enough to live on, and children can go to school instead of working on cacao farms. Conclusion: it took a long time for chocolate to become popular outside the regions of Central and South America, where cacao trees come from. Over the years, people added things such as sugar and milk to the long and complicated process of making chocolate from cacao beans. Today, people around the world eat millions of kilograms of chocolate, making it the world's most popular sweet.
Good job!